So in this sprint, we have worked on supporting inline variables. This is a C++ 17 feature that allows you to declare or define a variable in a header file and then include that into multiple compilation units without getting a linker error. We've also worked on improving the way we parse types for operation parameters and attributes and etc. So now we can correctly handle types that are template instantiations with multiple template parameters or nested templates. It was possible also before, but with some workarounds, now they are correctly parsed in the properties view and Project Explorer. We also did a change in the code generator, an improvement in how we generate variable initialization in copy constructors. Now we look at the initializer kind property to initialize variables in the same way in the copy constructor as we do elsewhere. So it's now more consistent. We also have support now for dragging and dropping elements from other views than the Project Explorer. So you can now, if you have something shown in the search view, you can drag it from there and drop it on a diagram, for example, or you can do the same from Inheritance Explorer without first having to navigate to the Project Explorer. So it saves some time. Then we have a nice improvement in the project importer. Now there is a new preference that you can set that will make it consider prerequisite projects when it's looking for projects, both when searching and when importing. So this makes it possible, for example, to search easily now in prerequisites of external projects without having to maintain a separate map file or something like that. In the end of the demo, we'll also show something we for now call multi-snippet code editor. It's a prototype, so it's not something that is included in this release, but we wanted to show it to you anyway to get feedback if you think this feature would be useful, and if so, if we should continue the way we have done it now or maybe do some adjustments in the implementation. So the idea here is that we want to show all code snippets that belong to a certain element in a single code editor. So you don't have to open one editor for every code snippet like today. I can also mention that in this sprint, we have started to look at the compiler versions we should support going forward. So we have started to work on supporting the latest Visual Studio compiler, that is 2022. And in next sprint, we'll continue looking at MinGui, GNU, and also possibly some other compilers that we think are useful or common in the market, like CLang. But this we'll also discuss in an upcoming Tech Connect that I will come back to give you an opportunity to influence on what versions you think we should support. Then we've also made some improvements to textual state machine feature that was demoed a couple of sprint releases back. This feature is still experimental, but in this sprint we have improved the handling of broken references. Then I'd like to mention something that we call Eclipse core releases. This is a new kind of a release that we intend to do every time a new Eclipse comes out. So what we have done now in this sprint is to work on a version of HCL RTist 11.2 that can run on the latest Eclipse, which now is 2022-06. And we call it core release because it only contains the core installation component. The main motivation for creating these releases is to give customers an very early way to test RTist and RCRT on a new Eclipse. And it can, for example, be interesting if you have developed your own plugins to make sure that a new Eclipse release hasn't broken any API or anything else that your plugin rely on. Or it can just be also a way to learn about new Eclipse features as soon as the new Eclipse version is out. And we also think that this will help us to be able to release our general GA releases more quickly than what we have done in the past. So, for example, our current plan is to release the next major version, which we will call 11.3, already beginning of next year, and that will then support 2022-06. So the plan forward is to make one such core release for every Eclipse release. That means 4 times a year. And they will be experimental since they only, like I said, contain this core installation component. And the first one we hope will come now, a couple of weeks from now, maybe in early September. Then some news about Node Plus. Some of you may have noticed that Node Plus didn't yet support the new Eclipse, but now it does. And now it's called Node Plus 2.0 because there were also several other improvements in it. But now you can run it together with RTist 11.2. Still, this feature is RTist only, but starting from next release, we will also make this available for IBM RCRT users. Then I'd like to take the opportunity to do a bit of announcement here. Like I mentioned, there will be a Tech Connect in the end of September. We try to organize a real physical Tech Connect before summer, but it was difficult since there still are some travel restrictions due to the pandemic in some companies. So we decided that for now it's better to have a virtual Tech Connect, and this will happen on September 28th at 3 o'clock Central European time. And we will, there is a link here, and we can also put that in the chat during the meeting here so that you know where to sign up. And the agenda for this Tech Connect is to get an overview of the roadmaps for RCRT and RTist. Like I said, we will also discuss the versions of compilers, operating systems, etc., that we should support in future versions of the product. Then we will also make a demo for the first time of something that we internally call RTist in Code. It's new technology where we aim at running RTist in other IDEs than Eclipse. And for now, we are focusing on Visual Studio Code and Eclipse Thea. And then there will also be something we call Magic Wand session. So it's basically giving you the opportunity to have a magic wand. What would you do with the product in that case? So if you didn't sign up, please consider if you can. There is another workshop coming up that you may find interesting, or maybe not you, but someone else in your company. This we call RTist Innovation Workshop, and it's an interactive, hands-on introduction session for new users of RTist. And you can think about that as like some kind of introduction to the tool. You will learn how to do simple modeling, building, and debugging. This will happen on October 5th. It's a 3-hour workshop starting at 6 o'clock Central European time. And here you can see another link that you can use for signing up to this workshop. So coming back to this sprint, here is what we will ship. So first now will come the version 2022-34 of 11.2 that you will run on Eclipse 2021-06. And then shortly after that, we will release this first core release that can run on Eclipse 2022-06, and that is an experimental release. And the older versions, there are no change since last time. So still, just a reminder that if you're using something as old as 10.3, remember that support will end in April next year. So it's a good idea to uplift to something newer well before that. Here is a list of the current experimental features we have. So we have the text-to-state machines, and also this new core release is experimental. Then there are some news around the features that currently only exist in RTist and not in RCRT. So like I mentioned for Node Plus, we will start with making this available for RCRT users in next sprint, and this will actually happen eventually for all of these features. It will take a little while, but by the end of this year, we hope that all of these features that currently are only in RTist also will be in RCRT.